Hello, hello. How is everybody today? Just getting everything set up here. Let's go ahead and move that to the side. Here we go. We'll bring me up front for the moment. Hello, everybody. How are you today? It is Wednesday, and today is our Live at 5 class. Today we're going to be working with the Window Wishes bundle, which I'm excited to work with you on and show you 3 different card designs, and wanted to let you know that you can get the make and takes for this class by making a purchase on my website, and the link is in the description, using the host code that is still figuring out the camera. There we are. The host code right there that will tell me that you want to have the make and take sent to you. You'll need to make sure that I can see your contact information in order for me to mail them to you. And I will ship them right to your door with a nice little thank you card. It will include 2 cards of each of the 3 designs, so a total of 6 cards. And the shipping is absolutely free. Let me see if I can get this echo to go away. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing it. Oh, where is that? See, I thought I had done really good setting up, and now I'm hearing this echo. Oh, there we go. Oops. Or not. Oh, I bet you it's this that's echoing now. Hold on. Where are you? Oh, here you are. So I apologize. I will get this fixed. That should fix it. Still learning how this all works. So thank you for your patience. So if you want to go ahead and order the make and takes, all you have to do is put in a $35 order before shipping and taxes, and using, again, that host code right there. And that will tell me that you want the make and takes. I'll ship them right to your door. If your order happens to be $50 or more, and you still use that host code, I'll also send you a lovely embellishment, absolutely free, as a thank you. And that embellishment is going to, oops, let's switch out my camera. That embellishment is going to be these lovely red rhinestones that we're going to use in our projects today. You'll get a whole unopened package of those along with your make and takes, and you'll be able to enjoy them. And if your order is $150 or more, then don't use the host code, but send me a message through YouTube or Facebook and letting me know that you want those make and takes. But that way, at $150, you're going to get the host rewards instead of me. And if you're spending that much money, by gosh, you should be getting those host rewards and not me. Okay, so what we're doing is working with the Window Wishes bundle today, and it is in our mini catalog. And it is on page 36. And it comes with all of this lovely stamps. So we've got this wreath, the candles, the little station wagon. I actually remember life as a child with a station wagon. We used to be able to, get the truck drivers to honk by doing the pump on the fists, and we didn't have to wear seat belts, and it was pretty different back then. And then this nice little house trees. Then there's this nice tree, some snow or road banks, some actual snow drops, I guess, the flame for the candles, and some lovely sentiments. And then down here, it also includes the dies. So when you purchase a bundle, you get 10% savings. And this bundle costs $50.25 before shipping and taxes. Now, keep in mind, you can only get this make and take kit or order through my website if you are in the US, because I am a US demonstrator. And so these prices are obviously US prices as well. And if you join me, just drop a comment, send a heart or a love, and let me know that you are there. hanging out with me, that would be awesome. Let me just quickly check something else here before. Make sure I'm actually in the right place. Oh, yeah, I definitely am. Excellent, excellent. Things are working. That's what we like. So once again, the Window Witches bundle would qualify you for the making takes as well as the free embellishment that we're going to be working with today, which is the red rhinestones, which are perfect for the holiday season. So, and then that buying it as a bundle will save you 10% over buying the stamp set and the dies individually. And in the catalog, there's some nice little examples of ways that you can use this bundle as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up, and I'm going to open up the bundle, or the bundle, yeah, basically itself, and show you what. So I keep my bundles, and one thing I do, looks like I'm freezing. Uh-oh, why am I freezing? My downside camera is freezing for some reason. Oh, now it's working. Okay. All right. So we have these lovely, I like to put the stamps to paper so that I can really get a good idea of what I'm working with. You know, obviously that's going to show you what I'm working with, but this is me actually using the stamps that I received with the inks, and I'm choosing different colors, things that I think would go well with that stamp for this sampler, if you like. And seeing how the words stamp, seeing how the images stamp. Still working out what that is. Probably just another little line in the snow or something. And then these are the nice, fun little snowflakes. And that just gives me a nice idea of how things are going to see when I unfreeze. Why am I freezing? So looks like we are good again. Hopefully it's not going to keep doing that. I refreshed my router and everything. So we are going to be using most there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamps that 7 stamps that I'm not currently using for these 3 cards. And then of course we have our dies. And this, I'd like to put my dies on a magnetic board. It just makes it really nice, so I can lift them off and drop them down. So I'm going to put those where I can access them easily, or access them, say. And I'm going to bring in the first card. So this is the first card we're going to be doing today, and it starts with a basic card base, and this one is in Starry Sky, I believe. And I've used 2 punches to create this label, and I've already done the punching for you for this, and I will do the punching for you for your kit. But basically that's a decorative circle punch and the Label Me Lovely punch that is going to give you those 2, and I'll show you how I work with those. And then we've got the barn door opening. So we have our matte layer, and then we have our base cards. And what it's going to come with is enough to make 2. So you're going to get your card stock, some designer series paper, and then this is for the candle. So you're going to stamp the candle with your stamp set. So you will need to have your for particular card set, your matte layer, and then I'm also going to send you a little piece of crushed curry for the candle flames, and I'm going to of course, an envelope. So let's pull out what we need to start with, and we will set this aside for the moment. We are going to use I've already did the die cutting for the candle on this, and I also already die cut the candles themselves. So we're going to use those instead of using this paper. I'm going to provide you the paper, so you'll go ahead and stamp the candle on that, and then die cut the candle, and then just die cut the flames with this. You could, if you wanted, use the crushed curry if you have it, to stamp the candle flames in this, and then it'll just be tone on tone, which might look nice too. But that's not how I started it. So I'm going to get my Real Red stamp pad out for the candle. I've already got it mounted on my, I think this is a C block. I know they say it on there somewhere. Yep, it's a C block. So I'm going to have to stand up and get over it to see it better. Ideally, you would stamp first and die cut next. And I think I'm going to be getting some just readers for when I'm doing this at home, because it'll be easier to line up than with my progressive lenses. But let's see how we did. Gonna pull it off, and actually that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And I think we're done with the Real Red for this stamps, or for this card. So I'm going to put the Real Red aside, because I will be using it again, I'm fairly certain. And then I'm going to put those aside for the moment. And I'm going to do the rest of the stamping afterwards. I want to go ahead and put my label piece together. So you see I've got these edges here that are not actually on the card anymore. You could use a trimmer, but I just took my snips and went up the line. And this just gives it a different shape, but still keeps all those lovely curves that I like. And then go ahead and move those out of the way. I am going to find my seal. There it is. And oh, this is actually my Seal Plus. Where's my seal? I had it out the other day. Might be upstairs, so I guess we'll use seal on today's projects. Doesn't take a whole lot. And then I'm going to center it-ish into this decorative circle. And you can choose to do it this way or this way. I think in the original I did it this way, but in the other one I ended up doing it this way, and I liked that better. And then I'm going to put a little line of adhesive down this edge here for my candles. So you can see, I think, that I've got a little bit of that adhesive strip over the edge. So I'm just going to bend it back over and fold it down on itself. And then I'm going to take, and since I have this nice embossed edge for the flames, I want that to go forward instead of the de-embossed. And I'm just going to line it up along the candle area so that the flame is going to be coming out of the candle just like that. Yay, I love that. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals. Just 2 is fine. On here, I do like to kind of cover it over the flames as well to help hold the flames in place. And I'm going to just line it up and set it down. And there we go. So that's going to be the label. The next thing I need to do is I need to get my cardstock cut correctly. And in order to do that, I'm going to need my paper trimmer. Okay. And so first of all, I'm going to double check my measurements. So the card is cut at 4 1/4, and it is scored at 5 1/2. So it's a half sheet of cardstock. And then my designer series paper is at 2.5 inches wide. So what I'm going to need to do is, first of all, make sure I'm going to fold the right way. So I'm going to want it to fold that way. So this top portion is the part I want to cut. And I want this bottom portion to be 2 3/4 big. Let me remember how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to cut from the other side just because I want to make sure that the top part is what I'm cutting off. So I want this at 2 1/4. So I'm going to line that up there, right? And I've already got it scored here. I can see it. You may not be able to. So I'm going to kind of line my blade up. I've got it straight in the channel. I'm going to make sure my little blade is lined up. I'm going to press down and go up. And then I'm just going to take and again have that scored part in the channel and then go up. And then I'm going to snip the little bits at the corner that I didn't quite cut because I would rather undercut than overcut. And then I've got my card. It's going to close appropriately. So I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure and get my edges very crisp. Okay. And now I'm going to move the trimmer, bring it back for the next card. And then I'm going to put some adhesive. Oops, I'm just dropping everything today. Hopefully, at the end of November, when I do my next class, I will be in a different environment where I have all of my stuff a lot closer to hand. So I don't need a whole lot. And again, this is a Seal Plus. Normally I would use Seal, but I can't. I think my Seal is upstairs. So I'm going to make sure that I've got my trees facing the right direction. And then I'm going to line it up with the cardstock and get a nice nice on every edge. And now that I've got that done, I'm going to figure out approximately where I want to stamp my internals. So in order to do that, I need to know where this edge is, and I need to know that this is going to cover up anything over here. So I'm going to get my early espresso ink, and I am going to start with my Merry Wishes, and I'm going to get this a little bit lined up first and then hold it down good so that I have my edge exactly where I want it. Tap, tap, tap to get my ink upon my stamp, and then line it up, make sure I'm going in the right direction, and stamp it down. I like to let it sit, but no rocking with these small ones, just so I get a good impression. And that was good. All right. So for the next one, I need the For Lots of Joy at Christmas. And I'm going to stamp that. And I'm using this foam piercing mat so that as a cushion, because I'm using photopolymer stamps. So I've got that one nice and inked up. I want to be out here. I'm underneath this line, so I'm going to be good no matter what. So I'm just going to make sure I got it nice and straight-ish. Not always perfect. In fact, I'm usually not terribly perfect, but I do try. And there we go. Then I need to do those little bits here. So I like to start with, I need my Balmy Blue. Oops, let's go ahead and close up our early espresso. We will need it again, so I will put it down below. And now I need to find my, there we are. Got my Balmy Blue and my little swoosh. And I'm just going to put this near the corner down here. I don't even need it on the cardstock anymore at this point. So let's take it off because I don't want to accidentally do anything bad to that. And then I'm going to ink up my little house and place it on my swoosh of, yeah, we're going to place it over here this time. That way it looks a little more natural. I'm going to close up the balmy blue for the moment, and then I need to get the early espresso back so I can get my roof. Can't have a house without a roof. Tapping, and then again I need to stand and make sure I'm lined up. This is also hard to do with my hair down, but it will be what it will be. Stamp, press and hold, don't rock, lift up, and there we go. We have a nice little roof, and then the last thing we need to stamp for this card is our little trees. So I have some double trees here. I'm going to get my Evening Evergreen ink. And since I moved the house over this time, I'm going to put the trees on the other side and just kind of line them up with my river/snowbank. Hold, press, let it soak into the paper, and lift. And that's how I'm getting my best impressions, is by giving it some time for that ink to soak into the paper. So now that's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and use my Seal Plus. And with it being Seal Plus, I don't need a whole lot at all because it is very strong. I actually use this primarily for my 3D projects. I'm going to stand again so I can get a good visual on my lining up. I'm just looking at both corners and up and down, make sure I have approximately similar distance. And then if I'm happy, then I'm going to do the press. Yay, that looks good. And then I'm going to attach the label itself. And again, I'm going to use Seal, but just on the bottom portion. So I'm going to want it to be about there. And so I'm going to make sure and get my seal on that bottom portion. A couple of little strips there. And then, yep, I think there's probably good. Press it down. Now, one of the things I used in the sample card is these pearlized enamel effects. And so I really like them, but they do take time to dry and you can't have anything sitting on them. And you want them good and dry before you ever put them in an envelope or give them to somebody, because if they're not really dry, then they can smoosh and lose their shape a little bit. So this time for the actual cards I'm demonstrating today, as soon as I find my Take Your Pick tool, which I know I had out, there it is. I'm going to use these red rhinestones, and I'll just put them in similar places as I had the enamel, pearlized enamel effects. And these are really, really pretty. So about there. And there we have card number 1, all finished and ready to be written and sent and handed out. Yay! So card number 2 is going to use the wreath. So it looks like I'm losing my little, there we go. We'll put those back for the moment and move that over. So with this one, we're going to do a wreath on top and this little bow, which I already have one punched out. So I'll show you how to use the die to cut the bow out for the next card. And then we're using this designer series paper. Now, both of these papers, the trees and the fireworks, came from the Celebrate Everything host paper that is in the mini catalog, the July to June July to January mini catalog that's out right now. So if you have an order of 150 or more, whether it's yourself or you and a combination of your friends, then you can select this host paper, which is a huge pack of paper. It's like 48 sheets of paper, and you get 4 full 12 by 12 sheets of each design, and those designs are, of course, two-sided. So I'm going to show you what comes in this. You're going to get enough supplies for 2. You're going to get an envelope. You're going to get your cardstock for your base. You're going to get your matte layer for the inside. You're going to get your designer series paper. You're going to get a little piece of scrap paper for your wreath. And you are going to get a little piece of red for your bow. And then, of course, you're going to get your 2 labels and an envelope. And you'll get 2 of each, as we said earlier. I'm going to set these aside for the moment. I'm going to put that completely aside since we won't be using it this time, but we will be using this. And let me go ahead and cut the card first. So again, we have it scored in the middle. I don't want it to close this way. So this is going to be the front. So this is the part I want to cut. So I want the 2 3/4 to be on that end. I'm going to, once again, line it up with that scoring edge. So literally we could just start just above it, scooch back, and then up. And then I'm going to put that scored edge in the channel itself. And come back a little bit. And this time I did a good job. I didn't need to use my snips to trim that out. And since we've got it cut, I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to burnish my edge, get a nice crisp edge. I love it when they fold beautifully. That's what we would like at all times. Since I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and put the designer series paper on. Oops. Let's get that going. And so that, again, the stamp and seal. Make sure I'm in the right direction, although I'm not sure there is a right direction with fireworks, but looks like I might need a new blade, which makes sense since I'm prepping for conference and having a lot of cards. I'm making like 50 cards per swap for on stage. Oops. See, now that was not a good line up. So we're going to carefully peel. That's why we do not do, especially with the Seal Plus, we do not press down until we have got it lined up the way we know we want it. So it's always better coming from the top, I find, to get that. All right, there we go. That is good. Okay, so what I wanted to show you too is that I did go ahead and already punch this out, but I also punched it out in Evening Evergreen, and I think this is Garden Green, but you could do Shaded Spruce. There's all kinds of varieties, and I've got the bow already punched or cut out, die cut. So I'm going to want to start with my Evening Evergreen for the wreath, and it's going to be approximate. And I looked at this in a few ways. So actually, let's go ahead and try stamping both on the white and on the other 2 greens. I'm just going to kind of line it up. There's no definitive 100% perfect way. It's just going to be what it will be. So there it is with just the white. And it would be best if I have some scratch underneath, but I don't have any, so we will just continue on. Evening Evergreen on Evening Evergreen is going to be harder to see without some white underneath. So let's do this Post-it note. Yeah. so I can see better what I'm trying to line up with. There we go. And hold it down nice and good. And that's kind of interesting. Let's look at it on the garden green. Actually, I think I might like it on the garden green really well, but not on the evening evergreen. That is definitely not the right shade. So let's go ahead and trim our Label Me lovely punched out pieces so that they fit better on the decorative circle punched out layer. And we'll go ahead and adhere it down. We'll line it up and press. All right. And then I'm going to look at, do I like this or do I still like that? I think I still like that, but I think I want to stamp it again. I think I didn't like how it's stamped. So let me line it up better. And there we go. I wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, if I turn them so that they are not in perfect alignment, it's going to give us a more, I think I like that. Well, this is what happens when you create while you go. I'm going to go ahead and use my Tombow glue, just a couple of dots here and there. And this would be better on my Stampin' Pierce mat, but since I don't have that, I'll just be careful. There we go. Now we are off centered a bit. I do have some glue leaking and pressed together. And then I'm gonna put a few, wait, that's actually the side I did last. So I think, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And put that back, and we'll bring that one around like that. So I have different fun. And I think I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. I don't think I raised it when I did the original, but I think I would like it raised up on this one. So I'm just going to do 3 mini dimensionals. There we go. Peel the backings and place it a little high because I want room for the bow. Okay, then I'm going to use my mini glue dots for the bow itself. So I'm just going to make sure I've got the side of the bow I want showing. And then I'm going to take that center of the tie and place it on top of the glue dot, peel it off, and push it under a bit so it's not going to show. And I like it kind of off to the side a bit. I just like that. I like things like straight and all that, but I also like it when they aren't straight. Now for this one, I think I am going to use the Pearlized Enamel Effects just because I think it gives a little bit of a better look for the holly berries. So I'm going to try and do a better job of the holly this time and just do 1, and just really teeny tiny. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to make it so that the side with 2 is opposite than the side with 1 here and there, so it doesn't look completely uniform. Looks like I need a couple more down here, so 1 there, an actual full one, thank you, and 1, 2. So there we go, and that is going to take some time to dry, so I'm going to set it aside. We will put it on today, but it's going to need at least 24 hours before I consider putting it in an envelope or anything like that. So now that I've got that sitting over here, getting all dry, actually, I'll put it here so it's got my lights exposing it to some heat. Maybe that will help as well. All right, let's get the red back out, and we're going to use our early espresso and do From Our Hearts to Yours, and the May happy moments and wonderful memories be yours this season. And this time we're going to use the car, the trees, and instead of blue, we're going to use the early espresso to make it like a road. So once again, we need to get our matte layer and kind of place it where we think it's going to end up approximately, so that we have a good idea of where to put the ink when we do this first stamp. I need the early espresso ink pad open. So here we go. And I'm going to have the label over here. So I want it over here in this kind of area. And even though it's a curved stamp, I want it to be, the points to be about straight. And so I'm just going to hold without rocking and press, because I don't want any halos. Oh, that's really good. I liked that. And then I'm going to do this one, and then we'll do the car, road, and trees after it's completed. So I'm going to look at it again, make sure. So I think I just want it to kind of center down here below the line, but underneath the curve, and be nice and centered. Press without rocking, let it soak a bit. While we're doing that, I'm going to close my early espresso. Well, nope, I need it for the road. So press and then lift, and it could have been better, but you can also get better with that when you use the Stamparatus. And actually, I see I have something on there now that I don't want, so we get to do that again. All right, bring my, where did I put it? This is the fun part of doing these, is things disappear on you. All right, one more. And we're going to get our circular again and close this. We don't want ink catastrophes on our finished cards, so we're going to redo that. Hold without rocking. Okay, now we don't have that halo up there, which we didn't want. We're going to do this one. Make sure it's in the right direction when we go to stamp it. And underneath the line, but centered underneath the curve. So there we go. Hold, 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 and lift. Oh, that's a better one anyway. So that was another reason we had to do it over again. All right. And let's continue to remember that we are not closing that yet. All right, what did I do with, there it is. Since this had balmy blue ink, it would probably be okay. It's not going to even impact the early espresso, but I'm just using my chamois to clean the stamp so that I have it clean. Now, if I were doing this one first and then going to the balmy, then I would definitely need to clean it for sure. So I'm going to want some trees over here, and then the car. And so I'm going to kind of go about there and really, really, really careful not to rock, but still holding it to let that ink sink in. Beautiful. Now I can finally close the early espresso for this card. Yay. And then I'm going to want, let me do the trees. I'm going to want both of my trees. Where are you? There you are. So I need the Evening Evergreen again. And let's do the double tree first, because that one's going to be the most critical. Let's do them at the end of the road, like right there. And oops, I'm a little off screen because of my banner, so let me push up without, there we go. And then I'm going to do the single tree at the end of the road. Holding it down. There we go. So we are done with Evening Evergreen for this card. And Balmy Blue is done. We're going to need red next. And we're going to do the car. Well, let's do the wheels first. That could be interesting. What did I do with my Memento Black ink? Memento Tuxedo Black ink was out. And I will get better at this as I get more practice, I promise. Push that to the side. And that to the side. Make sure I know where everything is at as best as I can. Well, all right. So in a pinch, we will use early espresso, I guess. Let me double check. Make sure first before I... All right. We will use early espresso this time, but when you do it, you should have easy access to your Memento Black, Tuxedo Black. There we go. Memento Tuxedo Black ink. But for some reason, I am having difficulty with that. So I'm going to get the wheels. Let me kind of get the car out and see how's the best to do that. All right. I'm going to put the wheels, try and line them up really good. And so I'm using a really teeny block for this, just because it can be, you don't want a bigger one, because if you rock it, you will definitely get halos, and you don't want halos. So I've got my tires, my little wheels down. And then I'm going to do my station wagon. And I'm going to stand up again because I want to make sure and get a good lineup. And get my hair out of the way. Well, this is going to go longer than I thought it was going to go. So I'm going to make sure I got the tires in those spots. And press, hold, and lift. Not bad. Not bad at all. Close my ink so I don't get it on my cardstock. Yay. And then get the base that I'm actually working with for this. What happened to my... There it is. All right, so I'm going to use my Seal Plus, get a little bit in the corners. Oops. And then when you press too hard, it takes the cardstock with it, which is not the best plan, which is why I don't generally use this. You have a real light touch on your paper with the Seal Plus, because it is very strong. So it is going to grab the papers as much as it can. All right. And that's pretty decent. So I'm going to press it down and call that good. Then we're going to put our seal. No, because of the pearlized effects, I don't want to take that risk, so I'm going to bring out the Tombow glue and just do a little bit right there on that lower half. And so as you can see, I've got some Tombow glue on the lower half, and I'm going to line it up where I want it on the card and hold down. And that way, I'm not going to take any chance of squishing my lovely pearlized effects. Now, the other way you can do it is to wait on the pearlized effects until afterwards. But here are our 2 cards. And I think I definitely like the addition of the other shades of green underneath with the white being on the top that's stamped. And then there is our lovely card. I think I did a better job stamping the one with you today, which sometimes is a bit shocking that somebody can be better at it live than not live. Okay, now we have our last card, and it is, it uses the full-on, a lot of the dies. So I cut out the house, I cut out the trees, I cut out this little blue, river, snowbank, whatever you want to call it. And then I cut out the window frame and the window inset. And then I also use the deckled rectangle trays, or deckled rectangle dies to make this square. And there's also one using the same on the inside. So here's how it looks. And this is one you haven't seen yet. It's got this belly band that helps it open up. And it's got an opening just like that. So we're going to use real red ink. We're going to use balmy blue. And we are going to use evening evergreen and early espresso. So let's go ahead and see what you're going to get when you get it. So you're going to have your cardstock, your card base, and there's specific ways for scoring that. Make sure I've got that out here. Okay. Then you've got a little strip of blue. You're going to have a chunk of soft suede and early espresso in order to make those. And then this is for the bow, which we're going to make. And then you have a little scrap for your house and your trees and the roof. And then there's this little piece of designer series paper. And then there's 4 pieces of designer series paper. And then you're going to have 2 of these rectangles. So let us start with getting, I found the Memento Tuxedo black ink. Oops. Oh, well. When you're working in a small space, you can't always figure it all out. And you have to have a lot of stuff close by to get stuff done. And that's going to happen. All right. Let me get this out from underneath. And I'm going to get the main die. Now, it's going to be best. So I give you enough to basically do this with both the it's early espresso and the soft suede. You're going to have and then you can just, switch out if you want. But you'll have enough to do 2 for each card. Since we're going to use early espresso for the outside, I'm going to use this face down. Okay. And then I'm going to need the interior also face down. I want to get it nice and lined up in here. And I'm going to use my sticky notes to hold it in place. I don't want it moving at all. And then I'm going to put my cutting plate over the top. And then I'm going to use my little mini cut and emboss and just run it through. And I like using the gray, which is the embossing plate, underneath, because I find a lot of my dies need just a little bit extra than the white one. And so I use that. I don't know why I closed it up. I'm going to need it again. Then I'm just going to gently peel off my sticky, my Post-it note, and then peel up my dies. And then it's going to lift off and leave you with your beautiful door. We're going to set this aside because we're not going to need it for today's card. But we do need this, and we need this because that's what we did. Now I'm going to I'll definitely get a lot better at this as I get more practice. There it is, underneath the soft suede, which I'm not needing now. I'm going to gently figure out. For this, I am going to use, you could use adhesive sheets to cut out the this one especially. It'll make it a lot easier to get it down. With the Tombow glue, you can either do a really, really thin line if your Tombow glue is behaving, or you can do just little dots. When it's not behaving, sometimes it's easier to just do dots. I'm not squeezing it all. This is just what's coming out because it's warm in here, and therefore it's a really loose consistency. And if I were to squeeze it all, it would just start doing its ooze factor. All right, I'm going to take and place this on my deckled rectangle. And with it being Tombow glue, it's going to be easier to move around a little bit if you don't quite get it where you want it when you first lay it down. And then have to be even more careful on this guy with your dots. So just going to do dot, 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 dot. Almost like Duck, Duck, Goose, right? All right, and then a couple of dots down here. Now, I usually like to use some bypass tweezers to put these in place, but apparently those didn't come down with me today. So I will just do it the hard way, or the way I used to do it all the time, because I didn't have them before. And then I'm going to get it inside and press it down. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up to the top and just lay it in. And when you cut it together like that, you're going to have a much better fit than if you cut them separately. And I like that. That worked out good for me. And then I'm going to actually, before we do that, I'm going to stamp my other parts that are going to go into the same little area. And normally I would have waited to do the gluing down, but I forgot since I didn't put this together recently. So I'm going to start with my Early Espresso ink. I'm going to do my roof of my house. I'm going to try and get a good line up on the stamping. There. I really think it's going to be much better when I have my just single lens instead of my progressives for these things. And then I want my house in the balmy blue again. Since this was the same color we used before, I don't need to worry. I'm going to line up, and I'm just using the Post-it note so it's more obvious where I'm stamping and help me line it up better, basically. Press, let it sink in, and then just peel it off the stamp just like that. That one was nice. And I'll show you what I do when I don't quite get it the way I want it with the alignment, like that roof. And you can do this anyways, even if you don't, if you don't want as much border. That's another way. So let's actually do the double tree, because that's what I've got right now, but I don't want to do it in Early Espresso. I want it in Evening Evergreen, Michelle. Okay. Stamp it up, line it up, and stamp it down. Feels like I got it a little off So again, this is where stamping and then die cutting is usually the best practice, but since I needed to save some time today, I went ahead and cut first and stamped with you. There you go. There's the green bits. And then we need the bow. So we're going to need the little red bit. I'm going to bring out our little mini cut and emboss one last time. And since I already ran it through once, I'm going to flip my cutting pad over. I try and only cut on the same pad and leave the other one clean as possible so that I don't, I reduce the warping and the damage that happens over time. So I'm just going to line that up on the paper. I have this bad habit of wanting to conserve paper. I think it's a good habit, but that's what it is. It's a habit. And then I need my little blue piece. And I'm going to line my blue piece up over the paper. And then I'm going to put my top plate down and run it through. Sorry for the shaking. But that means we're done with mini cut and emboss for today. Grab those back up forward. And let's bring this guy back up. And the first thing we want to do is figure out our alignment. So this is going to need to be just a teeny bit straight around the edge here. So there we go there. Good. And then I'm going to use, I've already kind of eyeballing it to make sure we get it there. Beautiful. Now, if I'd done this the way it was supposed to be done originally, it would be underneath that a little bit, but I forgot. And I'm going to put some Seal Plus on each end. Make sure the bits of glue that are sticking out over the edge are folded under, and line it up once again with this lower line here and glue it down. And there's still some room underneath, which we're going to want. I'll put the bow to the side, and I need my little pieces. And I'm going to put some Seal Plus on my house, a little bit up top. And I want it underneath. Well, actually, before I do that, I want to do my trees. And since these were not quite where I wanted them, I'm going to trim off a lot of that white excess edge, which again, if you don't really like that extra white, you can still trim it down anyways. It's fussy cutting, but it's a lot easier than trying to cut it straight from a full piece of paper. Just using our little snips to shave that down, at least make it a little more even. And I'll do the same thing with this tree. And the bottom doesn't matter as much, the very bottom, because that's going to be underneath our little snowbank. Oh. Okay. Teeny little bit of Seal Plus on the tree. And I'm going to put it. Now it does look a little better if it's underneath that the brown frame. It makes it really look more like it is actually outside, like it's supposed to. But you'll do better than me, and you will put it down first. I would do the big layer, but I would wait to do this layer until you've got peel up. And you can also do the blue first anyways too, but there we go. And then we want our house. Where's the house pieces? They were right here. There's the roof. Where is the house? The house is attached to my hand. How many of you knew that? So now that we have let me line it up. So I'm going to basically put it over the crust. I don't want any of the white on the bottom showing, so I'm just going to trim that off entirely with a nice little fussy cut. And then I'm just going to glue it down. And then this little roof definitely needs to be trimmed down. I don't like all of that extra white on it at all. And it's pretty easy to trim it down. Just snip here and there. And then when you get it all snipped, then you're going to attach it to the top of your house. And I think cutting that way is a bit like writing upside down, or reading upside down for that matter. Little bit of CO+, although, yeah, that's actually taking the cardstock up. So let's try once more. Yep, there, I got some that time. And if that didn't work, I would just go and use the Tombow glue. So I'm going to put it over the white edges of the house as well, and then make sure it is nice and set down. So there is our house. And then we're going to need the Merry Wishes again, and the real red ink pad. Oh, there is one thing missing from this, and that's your belly band. So that will be in your kit as well. I'm just going to stamp the Merry Wishes, make sure it's facing the right direction. Stand up and get a good lineup up towards the top of this little section. And boom, there we go. Now, the class itself, when it gets shipped to you, you'll get an email with information that it's been shipped, and that will also include a PDF tutorial with all of the measurements you need for the class. And if you're watching this down the road when the class is no longer available, you can still get the PDF tutorial for a $15 purchase. You'll just need to let me know that you were wanting that, and then we'll make it happen. All right, so I'm going to get my, oops, so sorry about that. I'm going to get my paper trimmer out, and we're going to need the little arm extended because I have to remember precisely how much we do. So that is 1.25 inches on each end. So I'm going to score this at 1.25 inches on each side. Right there. And then I'm going to flip it and do the same on the other side. 1 inch and 1/4. Yep. And then the next one is 2 1/8 inches. So we're going to go 2. Oh, from that. So that would actually be 3 1/8 inches in. And that will give us the from this score mark would give us 2 1/8 inch. So actually, let me double check, make sure I'm doing this right. All right, so lined up at the 4. Yeah. So we need, that was 1 1/4. So that would be 3 3/8 of an inch on each side. Flip it and do the same. All right. I do like a harder surface for, so I'm going to fold this one down and then this one this way. So they're going to be folded in opposite directions. I'm going to use my folder and get that nice crisp edge to both of those folds, and then I'll do the same on the other side. I do, for some reason, like to do it on both sides when I'm burnishing. I like to make sure it's good on both sides. Okay, so this is going to the outside, the first one. I'll just go ahead and burnish it since we're here, and that's going to the outside. Okay, and then this is going to the inside, and burnish it. There we go. All right, then we're going to get our Designer Series paper. I can put that away. Now, this is the tricky part. When you do this first two, you only want glue on this little outside flap. So I'm going to, instead of gluing the Designer Series papers for this first one, I'm going to put a little glue on the cardstock itself and try not to peel up the cardstock with the Seal Plus. Remember, light touch, but I'm not very good at light touch at the moment, apparently. Let's try not having so many layers of paper. And if this doesn't cooperate soon, then we'll just go to plan B and get the Tombow out. Oh, much better. I'll put just a little bit in the center, maybe. Once it pulls the paper, it just likes to keep pulling it. So, and then I'm going to line it up so I have the same kind of edge up and bottom, top and bottom, and then around this edge. Okay, so then I'm going to do light. Oh yeah, much better. Light. Okay. Make sure our trees are going in the right direction. Very important. And line up again, because you don't want to have the trees going in opposite directions of each other or opposite directions of the way the card's going to open up. All right, so for then the centerpiece, you're going to take your Designer Series paper and put the Seal Plus or Seal on it. Much better on Designer Series paper than cardstock. Make sure again that your trees are lined up in the right direction. And yeah, we'll go with this one. And then make sure that you are approximately in line with the piece next to it, because when it's open, it's going to be rather obvious if you are off. And then we're going to do little corners again, a little bit down the center, and put that final one in place. There we go. All right, and then we're going to have one other piece of Designer Series paper, and that's going to go across the center here. And then I want the triangles facing up, and I'm about 2/3 of the way up, and using the sides to get me straight. And then for this, I need the Real Red ink out again. And my for Lots of Joy at Christmas stamp. Oh, we're going to put that right there on our deckled rectangle cut stamp or die. Piece of cardstock, basic white. And then we're going to have to find the bow that we cut out. There it is. And once again, I'm just going to use a mini glue dot for that. And we're going to attach to the back of the bow. And then this one I do put, you know, kind of straight underneath instead of at an angle, or cattywampus, which is another way of saying that. Okay. Then we want the back of this to get some Seal Plus. Oh, to the edge. There we go. And then we'll make sure it's kind of centered. But, you know, if you prefer it looking different in a different way, then you can do that. And then it's going to fold up like this. So just like that. Okay. Now, the reason you want to put the Seal Plus on the cardstock when you're doing this layer is because if you don't, then you're going to have some nasty looking stuff like that. So learn from my mistake. And let me see if I have easy access. I don't. So there's this piece of blue. It's like one inch by 9 inches that you're going to place underneath your card and then lay it down, and then you're going to fold it on one side and fold on the other side. It's going to overlap a little bit. You'll put some Seal Plus on one side and attach it to the other, and then we're going to put this guy up on dimensionals on top of that, and that's going to hold the card closed, and that's going to give us our look like that. And that is our Window Wishes card class. So I had a lot of fun putting this together with you, and I would love for you to be able to get this kit for yourself as well. All it needs is for you to put in a $35 order on my website using the host code that is on the screen. It's also in the description. There's even a link to take you to shop at my website with my host code in the description. Feel free to use those at any time. Oh, we need to embellish this guy first. Where did my... there they are. And again, I think I prefer using the rhinestones for this application, you know, but I'm going to do a little less than I had before. So I'll do one in each little window. And I do tend to like odd numbers. So I'll see if there's another place that's screaming for some bling. Oh, I have an idea. There we go. We'll just put it down there. So there we go. Here is this card. And then we have this card. And here, let me pull this guy out, make it a little bit better. Try and get it in frame and all of that. And then, of course, our wreath. So with that $35 order, I will ship out all of the supplies to make 2 of each of these cards. You'll end up with this basic setup. And you'll just need to have the stamp set and dies because I can't stamp for you. And I'm not going to be die cutting all this intricate stuff for you either. But I will punch out the label punches for these 2 cards for you. And those will come in your kit with a couple of envelopes, you know, 1 for each card. So a total of 6, basically. And then you will get a PDF with all of the information. If you do spend $50 or more, you're also going to get unopened set of the red rhinestones, which are perfect at this time of year. And if your order is 150 or more, then you get to get the stamping rewards yourself. So my name is Michelle. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And this is the Window Wishes card kit to go class. Free with purchase. And thank you so much for joining me. You have until the 19th of October to place that order and receive your make and take for this kit, as well as any additional things that you get with that. I will ship out on the 21st, assuming all the supplies are in and available. And I've been at this for about an hour and 15 minutes. So I don't want to keep you any longer. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. I am not going to do another class until later in November because I am going to On Stage, which is basically our annual conference. We're going to get to see the brand new catalog that's coming out in January. We'll get to do pre-orders as demonstrators in December. So if that's something you want to be able to do, get with me, because I can definitely get you set up to be able to order this stuff a month ahead of regular customers as well. In the meantime, just released at the beginning of this month, and what our next card class is going to be. These are two of the cards we're going to be doing in the next card class using the Fitting Florets collection, including the limited edition paper that is only going to be available from November 1st through the end of December, or while supplies last. So if this is something you want, then you definitely want to get it right away before it sells out. Not going to guarantee it's going to sell out, but you don't know. People really like this paper. I really like this paper. So have a fantastic Wednesday. I will be doing kind of a show and tell of some different cards next week from an airport. And then I'll try and have something pre-recorded for the following week. So thanks for joining me. I'd love to have your comments. If you are finding any of this any value, please feel free to subscribe. If you already have a demonstrator, obviously order with them. But if you want the make and takes, you can order from me, or if you just want the tutorial, if you're a demonstrator or you already have another demonstrator, then just drop me a note, messenger on Facebook, email. I think my phone number is somewhere on there, and I'll just send you an invoice for the tutorial, the PDF tutorial. So thank you so much for joining me today, and have a fabulous day.